In this lecture, we will discuss how news was communicated before the printing press. Before newspapers, radios, or television, people still needed to share information. How did they do it? From town criers to handwritten newsletters and government bulletins, early news communication laid the foundation for modern journalism. Objectives of the lecture. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to explain the different methods of news sharing before the printing press, understand the role of town criers, handwritten newsletters, and government bulletins, recognize how these early communication methods influenced modern journalism. News sharing before the printing press. Before the invention of the printing press in the 15th century, societies relied on oral and written communication to distribute news. These methods varied by culture and available technology, but they all served the same purpose: informing people about important events. Town criers. One of the earliest forms of news communication was the town crier. Town criers were appointed officials who walked through villages or towns, announcing important news aloud. They were especially common in medieval Europe, where literacy rates were low. Key characteristics of town criers: delivered news loudly in public places, used bells or drums to gather attention before speaking, announced laws, royal decrees, and important events, wore distinctive clothing to signify their official role, often served as the main source of news for common people who could not read. Town criers played a significant role in spreading government messages and emergency warnings. Their ability to reach a large audience quickly made them effective in pre-printing press societies. Handwritten newsletters. In societies where literacy was more common, handwritten newsletters became a key method of news distribution. These early newsletters were often created by merchants and government officials to share important updates. Examples of handwritten newsletters: Venetian avvisi. In 16th century Venice, handwritten newsletters known as avvisi were used to inform merchants about trade news, political events, and economic trends. Chinese correspondence. Ancient Chinese officials exchanged written reports on political and military developments, which were circulated among government administrators. Roman Acta Diurna. In ancient Rome, the government created written announcements to inform citizens about legal decisions, military victories, and public events. These newsletters were expensive to produce and often limited to the wealthy and elite. However, they set the stage for later printed newspapers by demonstrating the value of written news reports. Government bulletins in ancient Rome and China. Rome, Acta Diurna. One of the earliest recorded government bulletins was the Acta Diurna in ancient Rome. This was a daily public notice, often carved into stone or metal, and displayed in busy areas like the Roman Forum. It included government announcements, legal proceedings, military updates, social news, such as gladiator events and public festivals. The Acta Diurna is considered a predecessor to modern newspapers because it provided a regular stream of news to the public. China, Dibao. In Imperial China, the government distributed official bulletins known as Dibao, literally meaning reports from the court. These were handwritten reports circulated among government officials, keeping them informed about political matters. Over time, these bulletins reached select members of society, further developing the tradition of written news. How early news communication influenced journalism. The methods used to share news in the pre-printing press era laid the groundwork for modern journalism. Some of the lasting influences include the idea of regular news updates. Town criers and government bulletins set expectations for frequent news dissemination. Written records for public knowledge. Handwritten newsletters and the Acta Diurna emphasized the importance of keeping records for reference. The role of authority in news reporting. Governments and officials controlled much of the news, a practice that has continued in various forms throughout history.